Welcome to the Esports Business Network podcast. I'm your host, Trent Knox. I'm the founder and CEO of Esports Business Network. This is EBN Podcast number 32. Our guest is Mark-Anthony Fernandez, co-founder and president of Rare Xcellence. Mark-Anthony is an entrepreneur with a tenured history in the entertainment business. He helped to co-found Rare Xcellence to compete at the highest levels in esports. Rare Xcellence was established by forming a team to compete in PUBG and has since grown to sign a roster of pro Apex Legends players, soon to compete in Apex Legends Global Series. In this podcast, we talk about how we built our experience in gaming and esports, what it takes to operate an Esports Org, and how teams can generate revenue. Enjoy.
This is the future. Evolution. This is the future.
Hey y'all, it's Trent Knox. Welcome back to another episode of the Esports Business Network podcast. Today, I'm joined by Mark-Anthony Fernandez. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Trent.
Awesome. I've been really looking forward to this podcast. You joined our community and then posted in the introduction channel, and I was just excited to hear about Rare Xcellence and everything that's going on in your company. But before we jump into that, I'd like for the listeners to get to know you a little bit better. So let's start off by talking about where did you grow up and how did you first get introduced to gaming?
So I was actually born and raised in Montreal, Quebec, in Canada. So cool. I still live in Canada. I live right now in Calgary, Alberta. And yes, I do speak French still, luckily, because I actually know a lot of people that moved from Montreal to Calgary, and then a lot of them lost their French language. Like they were able to understand us speaking French, but they weren't able to respond back in French. So every time I meet French members in the city, I always speak to them in French, keep my language going and active. But when it comes to gaming, I actually fell in love hardcore with gaming when I started playing Halo. It wasn't technically my first game, but it's where I started being like super addicted, where I fell in love with the storylines and like where I really wanted to understand more about gaming even further. Because with Halo, the creators of Halo created an amazing story, and I've always been a fan of Halo, and I am definitely excited to play Halo Infinite. And obviously, you can tell own every Halo game out there.
Yeah. Do you have Halo Reach?
Yes.
Yeah, man.
One of my most favorite moments in my Halo history is playing custom games in Halo 3.
Me too. Yeah.
I was actually the creator of, I don't remember if it was 28 days or 28 weeks later, but I created a sort of like zombie in the dark game, custom games where it got really viral. So for those Halo people out there that play a lot of custom games, if you heard about 28 days, 20 weeks later, that's me.
You got to give credit. You got to give credit where credit's due. Yeah, man. Yes. And so were you competitive in Halo? Did you play online or did you play offline tournaments?
I've actually never played in any competitive scene. I never even thought about video games as being competitive until I actually started playing League of Legends in, I think it was 2010 or 2011 when I was still like 16, 17. And then I started watching the LCS, starting off with TSM, which became my first fan favorite. And then when Cloud9 came in, when it came in, they just blew up like crazy in the LCS. And then as of now, Cloud9 and TSM are still my top one favorite.
That's really interesting. I kind of have a different story because, and I talk about it a little bit on this podcast. My introduction, of course, I knew about MLG and Call of Duty and Madden, but it never really came to Austin. It didn't come down here. it wasn't until I was in Hawaii that I discovered StarCraft, which I didn't even know like League of Legends was even blowing up. For some reason, it didn't reach. It didn't reach out there. It was StarCraft. It was StarCraft and Hearthstone that were blowing up. That when I was living in Hawaii, 2012 time frame, similar time frame, and I really missed out on the introduction of League of Legends. That was never part of me growing up. I don't know what happened. I would have loved to have been part of the rise of Riot, and seen them grow. But I really didn't see that. I didn't see that until 2015 when they were on top. They were just like them and CS:GO on top of competitive esports.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it definitely goes with. Okay, let's go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, you can go ahead. Don't worry.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, for sure. So, thank you.
You be my guest.
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously, it has to do with the people that you surround yourself with, right?
Yeah.
So, I was introduced to League of Legends from my cousin, who was a lot younger than me, and then he found that game, and he was a very good player back then, because back then there wasn't. I don't know if you're aware of all of the rankings in League of Legends, but before then there wasn't Masters. There wasn't that many ranks, and then Diamond back then was probably a lot harder to get, and he was actually a Diamond player. So that's where I started learning about League of Legends, and then as I'm always curious with the internet, I end up seeing LCS, and then that's where it eventually led me to Twitch.
Yeah. I'm like wood. I'm like wood. Terrible at that game. But yeah, I still have like a good comprehension of it and whatnot, and of watching it, after I discovered it on Twitch as well. But it has a different kind of root, doesn't it? It sort of brewed out of the US market, right? It was League of Legends grew off of the back of like DreamHack, right? And convention spaces. And it's really interesting, the story of Riot, when you look into it. I don't actually talk about that much. But I think since it grew, its success grew out of the US market, it definitely had a different trajectory versus like South Korea and StarCraft. Because StarCraft growing out of South Korea really, it began like serving Blizzard, started serving a Eastern audience more than it served the U.S. audience. Even though Blizzard is like an American company and whatnot, and has like a good presence in Canada as well, where you're up at. But yeah, talk to me a little bit about like the experience in watching League of Legends, because it was always on Twitch, or was it broadcasted on other platforms before it got to Twitch?
I can't really recall exactly where did I watch it when I started watching the LCS, but with my experience when I first watched it, it really felt really immersive, especially with the right casters. Like when because in other video games or tournaments that I've seen, like I have never seen such enthusiastic broadcasters where they would scream, get out of their chair, show their passion for the game while they're commenting on all the crazy events that would happen during the LCS. So like I really felt really passionate, and I felt really loving with the esports community side of League of Legends. Like I was always excited to watch it, and then not only that, like the production cost of all of their worlds tournaments, it's immense. Like they would have big arenas with thousands of people there, and then like even when COVID hit, it still didn't stop them from hosting their worlds of 2020 in China, if I remember that was correct. So even though they didn't have spectators in there, they still had the whole production and the arena still going on. So it shows how much commitment League of Legends and Riot Game have.
Yeah, absolutely. And did you play any MOBAs prior to getting into League of Legends? Did you play Dota or like the Blizzard version, the custom game on Warcraft 3?
I have actually never played any other MOBA game
Okay, yeah.
before League of Legends. League of Legends was my first part, and then eventually when I left League of Legends,
Uh-huh.
I became more busy with work and business as I grew older and older. So then
Oh,
I
okay.
eventually got more into mobile gaming, and then that's when I learned about Mobile Legends. And then uh, I used to play that for a while, but I tend to shift games. But
Wow.
I've reached the highest rank in Magic Chess, which is the same terminology of the same concept of TFT. So Mobile
Oh, okay.
Legends has the TFT version called Magic Chess, and then I got the highest rank in there.
Wow. Wow. Uh, go back to that a little bit. So you got away from gaming a little bit. Did you go to school and also work in business, or talk about that? You mentioned it a little bit.
Mhm. So when I mentioned about work and everything, so I went to school for business marketing at a college called State Polytechnic, which
Okay.
State stands for Southern Alberta Institution of Technology. And then
Mm,
from then on, I actually got a marketing manager career at our college school, which is pretty intense because I actually didn't finish. I actually didn't go for my bachelor's degree, but a lot of my classmates did. And while
mm.
they were all like, coming into class, they were just seeing me working at the college campus. So it felt pretty ironic and funny, but um, through the end of what I learned about college is that it's very important to network with your teachers and with your colleagues all around
Absolutely.
you,
Yeah.
because it was actually because of my teachers that referred me to that position.
Okay. Yeah.
So, mhm.
Yeah. And then, the big thing you mentioned there is you're into mobile gaming. Talk about that a little bit,
Mhm.
like Magic Chess. I've got some experience. I've got some stories about being in mobile gaming. Mobile gaming is a weird place because uh, I've been played games where on mobile gaming they thought I was a bot, and and I love mobile games, but I hate being banned on them. I do, because
Oh
the
wow.
support on mobile gamings, it's just different than it is for like console or PC gamings
Hmm,
games.
hmm.
So I've had my ups and downs with mobile gaming, but talk about you getting into mobile gaming.
Well, like the reason why I got more into mobile games is because I'm able to play on the go.
Yeah.
Because um, throughout my years in college and like few years after I finished college, I was uh, one of the side jobs I was working at. I was a promoter for music festival events. So I would sell admission
Oh
tickets and
wow.
network uh, for those big events. Like if you ever heard of Tiesto, all those big
Yeah.
shots, yeah, they've performed in those big events. So I would promote those, and
Yeah.
I used to be a lot of a party goer. So
Oh really?
yeah, so I would still kind of low key pull out my phone and still play video games. And then surprisingly, like a lot of people I would network with, they love playing video games, so we would
Yeah.
usually play games that we could play together on the phone.
Yo, that's so interesting. We're kind of just getting to know each other over this
Hmm,
podcast,
hmm.
but I was a promoter too down here in
Really?
Texas. Yeah. Yeah. So I
Wow.
have that sort of the same experience. Promoted South by Southwest, and ACL and Jambalaya and these music festivals and whatnot down here.
Hmm,
I
hmm.
also was a club promoter for a little bit. I also
Oh,
bartended. So like,
me
bartender,
too.
club promoter
Me too.
goes like yeah, see, look, yeah, that's like,
But
we got a lot of it in
it
common.
was literally the best hustle while I was
Yeah.
in school, because like on the
Yeah.
weekend it's just 2 or 3 nights, right?
Yeah.
Depending on like Sundays are open. But
Yeah.
like, you would make so much tip from working behind the bar
Yeah.
and nightclubs that like
Yeah.
it felt like you were working like half the amount of time of what people would work for when they're
Yeah.
while they're in school, because people would try to do the 9 to 5 or try to get some 8-hour shift for a 40-hour a week while they're in school. But I'm
Yeah.
just doing half of that or even less, and I definitely felt like I was getting paid more because those tips, let me tell you,
Yeah.
it was good.
I didn't really fall in love with bartending. Not that I don't like it. I didn't fall in love with it. I ended up liking bar backing. I
Yeah.
like to like move kegs and stuff like that. Sometimes it was kind of like, oh, this job is hard, having to move it like a couple flights of steps. Well, that,
Oh, tell me about that.
but just hanging out as a bar back is why I ended up becoming the promoter, because it was like
Interesting.
shows I was just hanging around sometimes, and I wasn't bartending. I was still getting like same tips and everything, because you have to tip out the bar back and whatnot
Yeah.
that the bartenders were making. But I saw another avenue where like I could start to do promotions, which kind of is something that I think in esports they could use a lot, is like event coordinators and promoters are like the backbone of the music industry, but you don't see it done in the same way in esports. It's done a little differently. It's more like large, or it's more sports people. Like it's more traditional sports promoters than it is like club promoters in the business, from what I've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Which kind of their way of like creating a vibe. Like as a club promoter, you kind of
Yeah,
create the
yeah,
vibe,
yeah,
because
yeah.
you're always networking with people, and it's not as aggressive as sports is. It's more like it's very socially interacted, and sports can get real aggressive. It's like high level of like of competition and scarcity in sports, where that doesn't really exist in the on the entertainment side of like club promoting and stuff like that. Of course, there's like an exclusivity aspect, but you can still make things feel exclusive, but keeping them inclusive, which is why like I think it's in. I want to ask you about Rare Excellence, because
For sure.
it sounds like that's incorporated in a certain way, like this sort of like uh this premier experience that you get like being a part of Rare Excellence and being incorporated in the community. So let's jump into that.
For sure, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's see what I could start off with. Well, Rare Excellence was founded by 3 core members back in 2009 when PUBG
Oh,
was
okay.
very big back then. We had a PUBG pro team competing in a LAN tournament. I don't remember what was the name of the tournament. I'm not sure if it was like DreamHack or something like that, but they competed in a LAN tournament where we've got a fair amount of exposure from that, especially. And then years down the line, the core members all separated and changed into different priorities. And then when 2020 happened with COVID, that's when a lot of people had to stay at home, and then that's when I started playing a lot of Apex Legends. So going on from there, I actually met the CEO and founder of Rare Excellence through playing Apex Legends, and then from then on, we got to know each other more, and then I brought up the idea about, hey, why don't we start an esports organization? And then he mentioned about, okay, well, we can either make a new one from scratch or revamp Rare Excellence. And since he already put a lot of time and effort into that, I'm like, you know what? Why don't we just revamp Rare Excellence? And then that's where we are with the renewal of Rare Excellence in spring of 2020, and with the new team members. And at the start of 2021, we signed our first pro team, obviously, with Apex Legends. So a good cue in to talk about that. They're actually competing today in about 2 hours, I would say, in about 2 hours for the ALGS, which stands for Apex Legends Global Series, and it's the Winter Circuit Online Tournament number 2. So if they qualify top 2 in the finals for this tournament, they will qualify for the playoffs, and then the top 5 teams in the playoffs will actually qualify in the first ever championship of League of Legends, where there's $1 million prize pool on the line. So this is just very exciting because this is Apex Legends' second year anniversary, but this is the first time they've announced a championship. So the fact that we are growing and we're growing at the right time, I definitely felt that we have good faith in our pro players in getting to the top.
Gotcha. And did you say that Rare Xcellence was founded in 2009 or 2019?
2009.
2009.
Founded,
okay, gotcha.
Revamped in 2020.
Okay, gotcha. Founded in 2009, and they were playing
PUBG.
They were playing PUBG in 2009.
Yes.
Or was it what was the other game? Gary's Mod or Daisy?
Oh no, they were playing. They were only competing in PUBG. I think
I didn't know it's been around that long.
Yeah, it's surprisingly been that long. Yeah, surprisingly.
Oh,
I believe it came out in like 2007 or 2008, and then
really?
that's when like it started like going really really big. I even like learned a bit about PUBG by watching Summit 1G on Twitch. So that's how I learned a lot about PUBG. But yeah, it got really big, and then unfortunately PUBG died out. But if it weren't for that, who knows if I may have met him or not.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, I know that, Summit 1G played CSGO and then played PUBG later on. So yeah. He played for Splice. I've seen the founder of that company before. But yeah, so you guys are in Apex Legends now. What is that like? Because Apex Legends is a pretty new game. Comes off of the, is created based off of assets from Titanfall, right?
Yes, correct.
And so it's been kind of it's been well received on Twitch. I know Shroud kind of made it kind of big and whatnot.
Yeah,
he never went
made
pro
headlines
in it,
with his comment. He made headlines with it. There's like people would quote it saying that Apex Legends is the best battle royale game ever out there. I obviously personally agree, just because like it felt really more immersive. It felt more risky in a sense of coming into battle, and also like they implemented a lot of new things that you didn't see in battle royales. Right, they were the first game to implement a revival system, and then the thing is, when that came up, Fortnite, since they're big and they got a lot of people behind them to back all their finances and everything, they actually adapted to that like a week or 2 weeks later, and then they actually got that idea and added to their own with, I think it was like adding a van where you can like revive people in there.
Yep.
So yeah, and then the thing is like a lot of people thought that Apex Legends was not gonna blow up, or it's not going to be popular, because you know how it is with new games. They would pay all the big streamers to play, and then later on they stop playing, which obviously that did happen with Apex. But like as of now, we're getting way more streamers, we're getting way more prize pools in our tournaments, and with our average viewers going up now, we're definitely seeing a tremendous amount of growth with Apex Legends, and we are hopefully going to see it competing with the other big leagues like Call of Duty, Warzone, and Fortnite, right? So it's starting off with their championship.
Yeah, I mean, EA is no slouch. It's not like they're going to let the game, die out. And even EA is coming back with a lot of their games that are classic games. They're coming back with them. And, there's a tailwind coming toward EA in the games that they've been developing. Who knows why? Maybe it's because they did some social distancing, stay at home, or remote development and whatnot, and so now they kind of restructured. But I've seen EA has been doing a lot of great things, especially around Apex Legends. I mean, Apex Legends, it's not cornered to just on Twitch. I see Apex Legends on YouTube. I see Apex Legends on Facebook. I see Apex Legends literally on all the platforms where, League is kind of on Twitch. Like, it's on YouTube as well. But, the large audience of people watching League is on Twitch. Same with CS:GO. You know, some of the bigger things, Fortnite. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Does Rare Xcellence work with content creators? Do you have streamers as well, or is it strictly, you know, Apex Legends team?
We do have content creators. We
Mm-hmm.
have, let me keep that in mind, I believe 5 active content creators right now.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, they all are in Apex Legends. We do have one in Call of Duty,
Mm-hmm.
but he is not he's not a streamer. He's more of a YouTuber. So there's
Okay.
that. We are transitioning to also planning on getting a pro team with Call of Duty, and also getting content creators with Call of Duty. So that is our
Mm.
short-term goals out there. So
Okay.
if there's anyone interested in representing Rare Excellence in the Call of Duty section, you could definitely contact us. We're more than happy to hear you guys out.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. And so, how many people are on the Rare Excellence team, including content creators?
So do you mean by team as in the,
Like under the how many people represent Rare Excellence?
okay, so we have 8. We have 8.
Eight
So
folks.
3
And
pro
so,
players,
mhm.
and the rest are content creators.
So are those in the Apex Legends global series? Are is that's trios or is there
So
other forms?
no worries. So usually how the game works with Apex Legends,
Yeah.
it's usually as a trio.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I think same thing with Warzone, right? It's always a trio. I
Mm.
think there's probably duos or solos, but Apex does bring those events up, but it's not an official or default number of
Hmm.
teams in the game. It's
Yeah.
always a pair of 3
Yeah. Yeah. It's
for Apex
trios.
Legends. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know when I first started playing the game, I know it came out as trios, then they had
Hmm.
solos later
Hmm.
on, and I know it's gone through like I don't know how many maps they're on. Probably on what are they on? 4 maps, 5 maps now?
So
The fifth
there's
map?
King's Canyon. That's the
Yeah.
first map that came out, and then World's Edge, and
Yeah.
then Olympus. So those are
Olympus.
3
Oh,
maps,
it's on
but
3. Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
but they would do a lot of like revamping, rework on the same maps.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's where we're at right now. And then um with the season that we're currently at right now,
Hmm.
it went back to Kings Canyon with a lot of new changes, a lot of new point of interest. What I mean by point of interest is, like, when you look at the map or mini map, there's the name
Hmm.
in those areas. So that's
Hmm.
what you call point of interest. And there's a
Hmm.
lot more because, um, which is very great because before, when it comes to the esports competitive side, usually you want to land in a place where, you're not going to do a 50-50 and contest with someone, because that's just
Yeah.
very risky, right? So now that they have enough for everyone to basically split off, a lot of the people are really enjoying the new map because
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's able to, stay alive longer.
Yeah. Yeah. And it has Apex Legends um started to incorporate tournament tools into the game, because I remember when it first came out and in the competitions and whatnot, it was all based off a kill race. And so are now for the Apex Legends Global Series, is that all the pro players are in one game competing against each other?
Yes.
Yeah.
The way how it works right now, they're all under the same game, the same room, and it goes by one kill in the same round. One kill costs 1 point, and then there are placement points for, um, you know, 10, 20 to 15, and then 14 to 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. With first place, you get 12 points, and
Hmm.
then yeah. But
Yeah.
the amount of limit of kill points you can get is unlimited. So if you
Hmm.
have the bravery and the skills to kill a lot of people, then that's good for you. But the thing is, with Apex Legends, it's very common to get third party because every other team is watching each other. So
Yeah.
it's, you always got to be smart on your decision making and being very, very, very quick at executing whatever you're planning, because um, the way that the way that I see it is that if you aren't going to do it, someone else will.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So again, back to what your role is. So you're the president of Rare Xcellence. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And so what is your responsibilities for Rare Xcellence? What do you do for the brand?
So what I do for the brand, I basically work on running the operational side of Rare Xcellence, making sure everything runs according and smoothly to all of the plans that we have. I would also network as well with esports individuals, seek out for potential new members that would like to be part of the team, and also taking part of the executive decisions with the CEO. We do have 4 executives in the team, which is the marketing lead, the biz operations, me, the president, and then last but not least, the CEO and founder of Rare Xcellence.
Gotcha. And so what does a player, what is their role in the company, and how do they, create revenue, and how do they earn money playing for Rare Xcellence?
Mm-hmm. So for the pro players, when they compete in tournaments, that's where they themselves get a lot of exposure, and if they earn prize pool, the company earns a share of that prize pool, and same as well with sponsorships. If we get any sponsors, we share the profit with the players who are representing those sponsorships. And for the content creator side, the way that they would help us with revenue is basically increasing our community, overall increasing our fan base around Rare Xcellence, and as well as just basically promoting Rare Xcellence, because we are also planning on having our first merch drop this spring, so which is coming pretty soon.
Yeah, and for everyone, this is an audio podcast, but if you if you were able to see the video, you'd see he's rocking a Rare Xcellence shirt, and it looks pretty fresh. It looks like it's soft. It definitely looks like it's a soft material.
Yes.
Nice shirt. If I was looking for a Rare Xcellence shirt, which I hope I get one now that I look at it in the mail.
No, you think about it.
It looks like a quality material, and I would get one, especially if you want to be join a community. So talk about community. What does Rare Xcellence do for your fans?
So we want to represent Rare Xcellence as as being disciplined, as being inclusive to every gamers. And we definitely wanted to stick out a lot more than other organizations, even though, for what I'm about to say, some organizations are actually working into this. We want to really focus about health. So we know that, gamers tend to focus a lot sitting on their chair, playing for hours and hours in front of the computer, not realizing how much health just doing that is harming us in the long run. So, and especially when it comes to the pro players, we know how much stress there is. We know how much mental focus and fortitude you have to keep up with when you're especially on the stage in front of thousands of people watching you. You know what I mean? Because the stereotype about gamers, pro gamers, is that we're introverts, we're not really that very social. We're just very, very good at the game. So we definitely wanted to make sure that we support our players and our content creators, and making in the sense that they are healthy both mentally and physically. We actually have a mental training coach that is supporting our pro players to help them with their mental fortitude and focus when they compete in Apex Legends.
Oh, wow. That's very cool. Who are you working with? If you want to give him a shout out.
For sure. So his name is Anthony, and he actually lives in Europe. He's in his last year of university for his for his sports. I think it was sports psychology.
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, and he's really into esports as well. So I actually met
Very
him
cool.
through simply me networking on LinkedIn. So that's
Okay.
why I'm
Yeah.
very, very thankful about always networking, and that's what I do every single day, because you never know who might be a potential key component for your team, or who may be a great opportunity for you or your endeavors if you don't
Yeah.
network out there.
Yeah. Absolutely. And
Mhm.
since you're the president of Rare Excellence, how are you presenting yourself to, or should not just yourself, but Rare Excellence as a brand, to potential partners, potential sponsors, and what are some of your goals to accomplish this year? I know you're on a road to potentially winning a large Apex Legends tournament. You're in the mix. How are you marketing yourself to sponsors? How are you marketing yourselves to potential partners? And what is the monetization? How are you generating revenue for Rare Excellence?
Mhm. So for at the starting point, we are at a limited capital for
Hmm.
Rare Excellence. So um, one of our current goal right now is to seek out for potential investors that would like to be with us in the long term goal, into seeing the growth and the potential of Rare Excellence. When it comes to how we would make revenue, we would of course make revenues from a lot from future sponsors, from merchandise, from winning prize pools, as well as from publishers as well. So basically, all of the main aspects that you would hear about all of the esports market streams, it basically applies to our esports organization as well.
Hmm. Hmm. And so for your Apex team, have they competed in offline events?
Well, since COVID happened, our
Hmm.
pro team are actually new as well, and
Okay.
I'll actually name them out right here. We
Yeah.
have his Watson, we have Blur Flavors, and Keon. So those are our three pickups for Apex Legends. Those three known each other for a very long time, even before Apex Legends came out. I don't
Yeah.
remember what was the game exactly, but they've met each other from that game, and then they got really close and grew a bond where they start trusting each other, and that's where they became a team.
Yeah.
And then we've been seeking out um, pro players in the ALGS, and then we believe that they are an ideal fit for us with their commitment and capabilities, with representing our values, and
Hmm.
also just being the best out there in Apex Legends.
Yeah. And so, are you already working with a sponsor for the team?
Unfortunately, we are not working with any sponsors right now,
Okay.
but we
Yeah.
are more than happy to be heard by sponsors. So if there's any
Hmm.
sponsors out there, Rare Xcellence is definitely looking out for that. But yes, we
Yeah.
are on the lookout for sponsors. You're having some plans as well with how we would um, reach out to those sponsors, but that's just in the work right now.
Yeah. And so, are they creating content on the side? Are they also streamers as well?
Yes. So
Okay.
obviously the thing with pro players, right? Um, like usually you want to stream,
Yeah.
because the thing is, like, if you're a pro player and you don't stream, you're basically losing potential revenue, because as a pro player, you like during your journey as a pro player, you are creating a fan base. You're creating people that loves you, and
Hmm.
people would love to watch you play the game that they're a fan of. So
Hmm.
yes, our pro players, our streamers, except for his Watson, he is planning on streaming. I believe it's near the end of this year or next year, but
Hmm.
it should be hopefully be short. We're helping him set up with his old streaming gear.
Hmm.
So
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Streaming is very difficult. It's a
mhm,
very time intensive job and
mhm.
thing to do. equal to being a musician, equal to being
Mm,
a professional wrestler, football player, whatever it may be, a comedian. Like it's all the same in
mhm.
the entertainment business. And so for those actual dedicated content creators, the other 5 of them, are they working with any sponsors, or are they um I sh- I don't know, let me answer this question a different way, because is Rare Excellence bringing them sponsors, or are they searching their own sponsors?
So it goes both ways. So if we
Okay.
find sponsors for them, then that's fine. But if they find sponsors for themselves,
Hmm.
that's perfectly fine. Um, as of now, the current content creators we have, um, they are free to seek out for sponsors.
Hmm.
I know that there are certain rules and regulations where it limits content creators from seeking out like kinds of like specific kinds of sponsorship, but as of now, our content creators have the freedom to seek out for any sponsors that they'd like to get.
Yeah. And are your content creators partners on Twitch, or what platforms are they streaming on?
So all of them are on Twitch. One is doing YouTube, but
Hmm.
he doesn't do the one on YouTube does not do live stream. He just posts content on YouTube,
Hmm.
and um, so for our streamers, they're not partnered yet, but we are
Hmm.
definitely seeing a growth with one of our content creators, and then I'll
Hmm.
call him out, Unlucky Ducky. Yeah, Unlucky
Hmm.
Ducky, if you're hearing this. But yeah, Unlucky Ducky has been growing tremendously. He's been playing with very big streamers that have, over average 300 plus average viewers. He's been networking with other content creators. So we're definitely seeing high hopes for him.
Awesome. And so are they all on affiliate?
Yes, they're all affiliate, of
Okay,
course.
they're all affiliates too,
Mhm,
so that's good news.
mhm.
Um, and so when it comes to sponsors, partners, and investors, what are you looking to accomplish? Do you have some goals set out for this year? Like, do you want to raise a certain amount of capital? Are you
Mhm.
trying to, get certain types of sponsors in it, or um, uh, yeah, and yeah, is there any goals in that regard?
So yes, we are seeking for capital.
Hmm.
We've had a list of how much capital we're looking for. So obviously, depending on how much capital we get, we will work around with it. But
Hmm.
most of that capital would be spent on future pro teams. It will be it will be mostly spent more towards the marketing aspect and as well the esports aspect of Rare Excellence. That's to be where
Hmm.
our most capital will be funded
Okay.
towards.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then, what was the other question you had about again? Sorry.
I forgot myself. I was it's in the middle there. I was like, I forgot the other thing, but I'm guessing it had to do with advertisers. And so are you? I mean, that's sort of the same thing. Sponsors, investors,
Oh
and
yes, sponsors. Yes, yes, yes.
yeah.
So the kind of sponsors that we're obviously looking for, we are actively searching more towards health advocates. So
Yeah,
for
you
example,
mentioned
like
that. Yeah.
yeah, so like we're looking into like potential like Cliff bars, those Cliff
Hmm.
bars,
Yeah.
healthy bars, um, the actual um health. So like maybe uh for like maybe fitness apps or
Yes, that's
yeah,
that's smart. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
because
really
like
smart.
we know as of now, or maybe it's not even that popular out there, that esports right now is partnering with very strong health advocacies.
Hmm.
So we definitely wanted to be the one out there to be different, and
Hmm.
especially with like recently we've seen a lot of partnerships with a lot of entertainment companies, a lot of even like um, you know automobile companies. You know what I mean? Like um, like for example, Team Liquid and Naruto. I love
Hmm.
anime, so I was super surprised and shocked to see that, and so
Hmm.
that just shows that a lot of companies, a lot of people out there are really seeing the growth of esports.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been really great to get to know what you're doing with Rare Xcellence, and I hope that the listeners are able to connect with you and potentially, do business with you as well. So, in order to give the listeners and the audience a way to connect with you, how can they find you online, offline, wherever you'd like to promote? This is your opportunity to promote what you've got going on.
For sure. So you could definitely learn more about us at rarexcellence.gg, our official website. To get in touch with me, you can reach out to my business email. It's pretty long, but we created this forum where we all do it, but it's mark-anthony.fernandez at rarexcellence.gg. I'll just spell it out just so it's easier for everyone. mark-anthony.fernandez. And as well, I'm more than happy to even be connected on LinkedIn. I would say that I'm probably really, really active on LinkedIn. So you can definitely find me there on LinkedIn, Mark-Anthony Fernandez. And you're more than also to check out our social medias on Twitter and Instagram at Rare Xcellance.
Awesome. Thank you guys for listening. This has been Mark-Anthony Fernandez on the Esports Business Network podcast. Catch you guys on the next one. Hey all, it's Trent Knox. I wanted to let you know that I use Anchor to produce and distribute the EBN Podcast. If you've never heard of Anchor FM before, it's the easiest way to start a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need in a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. Hey y'all, it's Trent Knox, founder and CEO of Esports Business Network. I want to say thank you for listening to this podcast. If you're finding value in the podcast, I would greatly appreciate it if you share the podcast to your network and write a positive review on your preferred podcast platform. If you're feeling extra generous, feel free to make a contribution to our working capital accounts on Cash App or PayPal. Our username is ESPORTSBIZNET. That's Esports BizNet on both platforms. As always, we'd love for you to join our community and platform at https://www.ebn.gg. You can take advantage of a free subscription to our Bronze membership by following the directions on the homepage. Part of the Bronze membership is access to our Discord server and private membership channels. The conversation only evolves with participation from esports entrepreneurs like yourself. We need to hear about your esports business to understand how we can move the industry forward as a community. You can also join the community by joining the Facebook and LinkedIn groups. An additional goal of EBN is to move the conversation forward on your preferred social media platform. So as a last note, don't forget to follow us on social media for current events, news, and other esports related topics. Follow and subscribe to Esports Business Network on social media. Looking forward to networking with you very soon.